Ever notice how a clogged drain never happens at a convenient time? It's always right before company comes over, or first thing in the morning when you're standing in the shower watching the water creep up past your ankles. And if you're like most people, you probably reach for a bottle of chemical drain cleaner, pour it down, and hope for the best. But here's the thing. That almost never solves the real problem, and it can actually damage your pipes. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact method I use to unclog any drain in your house, whether it's a kitchen sink, a bathroom sink, a shower, or a floor drain. We're going from the easiest fix all the way up to the most stubborn clogs, step by step. And stick around to the end because I've got a bonus tip, a simple monthly trick that keeps your drains flowing free and can save you from ever dealing with this mess again. Let's get into it. A clogged drain is hands down the most common plumbing problem in any home. And the good news is you don't need to call a plumber for the vast majority of them. Once you understand what's actually happening inside that pipe and you follow the right steps in the right order, this is absolutely something you can handle yourself. So, let's start at the very beginning, with figuring out what you're actually dealing with. Before you grab a single tool, I want you to do a little detective work first. This step takes about 2 minutes, and it can save you hours of frustration. Here's what you're looking for. First, is it just one drain that's clogged, or is it more than one? Walk around your house and check. Run water in the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink. Flush a toilet. Run the tub. If only one fixture is backing up, you've got a localized clog, and that's the easy scenario. It means the blockage is somewhere between that drain and the wall. But if 2 or more drains are slow or backing up, especially if they're on different floors, that's a sign your main line might be involved. And that's a whole different situation we'll talk about later. Next, pay attention to the speed. Is the water draining slowly, or is it completely stopped? A slow drain usually means a partial blockage, something like hair and soap buildup that's narrowing the pipe. A fully stopped drain means something is completely blocking the flow. And here's one more thing to listen for. Put your ear close to the drain and have someone flush a toilet or run water in another room. If you hear gurgling, that tells you air is getting trapped, which usually means the clog is further down the line. Knowing all of this before you start tells you exactly where to focus and which method to try first. Now that you know what kind of clog you're dealing with, the first thing to do is clear the drain opening itself. You'd be amazed how often the problem is sitting right there at the surface, and people skip right past it. If you're working on a bathroom sink, most of them have a pop-up stopper. You can usually just grab it and lift it straight out, or you might need to twist it a quarter turn first. Once it's out, take a look at it. I can almost guarantee you're going to find a nasty clump of hair and soap wrapped around the bottom of that stopper. Pull it off, clean the stopper with an old toothbrush, and set it aside. For a shower drain, you'll typically have a cover held down by 1 or 2 screws. Grab a screwdriver, remove those screws, and lift the cover. Same thing here. You're probably going to find a hair clog sitting right there in the top of the drain. I keep a pair of needle nose pliers handy for this because you can reach down in there about 2 or 3 inches and pull out whatever's collected. For a kitchen sink, remove the strainer basket and clean out any food debris sitting in the opening. Now here's the mistake I see people make all the time. They try to push that debris down instead of pulling it out. Don't do that. You're just packing the clog tighter. Always pull up and out. Once you've cleaned the opening, run some water and see if that solved it. Honestly, about 30% of the time, this alone does the trick. If the water's still not draining properly, don't worry. We're just getting started. By the way, if you're finding this advice helpful, you should know it's just a small sample of what I've put into my new guide, the Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It's packed with step-by-step instructions for hundreds of repairs that can save you thousands To grab your copy, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or just use the first link in the description below. All right, let's continue. If clearing the opening didn't do it, the next thing to reach for is a plunger. Now, I know that sounds basic, but here's the secret. Almost everyone plunges wrong. Let me show you how to do it right. Because when it's done correctly, a plunger is one of the most effective tools you own. First, make sure you're using the right type. For sinks and tubs, you want a standard cup plunger. That's the one with a flat bottom that looks like a rubber dome. For toilets, you want a flange plunger, the one with an extra rubber flap that folds out from inside the cup. Using the wrong one means you can't get a proper seal, and without a seal, you're just splashing water around. Here's the technique. Fill the sink or tub with enough water to cover the rubber cup of the plunger, about 3 to 4 inches deep. You need water, not air, because water doesn't compress. That's what creates the pressure that breaks the clog loose. Place the plunger flat over the drain and press down slowly to push the air out from under the cup. Once you've got a good seal, give it 15 to 20 firm pumps. I'm talking about sharp, controlled strokes, maybe 4 to 5 inches of movement. You want force, but you don't need to go crazy. After those pumps, pull the plunger off sharply on the last stroke. If the water rushes down, you've broken through. One thing a lot of people don't know. If you're plunging a double basin kitchen sink, you need to block the other drain with a wet rag. Otherwise, all that pressure you're creating just escapes out the other side and you get nowhere. Same goes for bathroom sinks. See that little overflow hole near the top of the basin? Stuff a wet rag in there before you plunge. Give it 3 or 4 rounds of 15 pumps each. If the water still isn't moving after that, it's time to bring out the next tool. All right, this is where we get serious. A drain snake, also called a drum auger, is what plumbers reach for when a plunger can't get it done. You can pick up a good handheld drum auger at any hardware store for around $20 to $30, and it's worth every penny. For most household drains, you want a 1/4 inch cable that's 15 to 25 feet long. That's going to handle sinks, tubs, and shower drains perfectly. Here's how to use it. Loosen the thumb screw on the drum and pull out about 6 to 8 inches of cable. Push the end of the cable into the drain opening and tighten the thumb screw. Now, turn the handle clockwise while pushing forward gently. The key word here is gently. You're not trying to force it. Let the cable find its way through the pipe. When you hit the clog, you'll feel the resistance change. It goes from smooth sliding to something that feels like you're pushing into wet sand or a sponge. When you feel that resistance, keep turning clockwise and apply steady, moderate pressure. What you're doing is either breaking through the clog and pushing it into the larger pipe where it can wash away, or you're hooking it so you can pull it back out. After you feel the cable punch through or you feel it grab something, slowly pull the cable back out. Have a bucket and some old rags ready, because whatever comes out is not going to be pretty. Here's a pro tip from years of doing this. If the cable feels like it's hitting something hard and won't advance, don't force it. That hard stop is probably a fitting or an elbow in the pipe, not the clog. Back the cable out a couple inches, then try again with gentle clockwise turning. The cable needs to navigate those turns, and forcing it can damage the pipe or kink the cable. Once you've pulled the clog out, run hot water for a full 2 minutes to flush everything through. Sometimes the clog is sitting right in the P-trap, that curved section of pipe underneath your sink that looks like the letter P or U. If the plunger and snake didn't work, or if you can see that the water is stopping right there in the trap, it's time to take it apart. Don't let this intimidate you. It's easier than it sounds. Grab a bucket, some channel lock pliers, and a rag. Place the bucket directly under the P-trap to catch the water that's going to come out. Most P-traps have 2 slip nuts, one on each end of the curved section. Try loosening them by hand first, turning counterclockwise. If they won't budge, use your channel locks, but put a rag between the jaws and the nut so you don't scratch up chrome or crush plastic fittings. Once both nuts are loose, carefully lower the trap down into the bucket. Water is going to pour out, so go slow. With the trap removed, look inside it. 9 times out of 10, you're going to find the blockage right there. A packed mess of grease, hair, soap, or food particles. Clean it out thoroughly. While you've got the trap off, shine a flashlight into the pipe that goes into the wall. If you can see a blockage in there, this is a great time to run your snake directly into that pipe without the trap in the way. When you're putting the trap back together, make sure the rubber washers are seated properly and tighten the slip nuts hand tight first. Then just a quarter turn more with your channel locks. Don't over tighten. Plastic threads crack easily, and even chrome fittings can strip if you go too hard. Once everything is back together or you've cleared the clog with any of the methods we covered, it's time to test. Run hot water for a solid 2 to 3 minutes. Watch the drain carefully. The water should swirl down quickly with no hesitation and no backing up. Listen for gurgling. If you hear it, there may still be a partial blockage further down. Also, get down and look under the sink at every connection point. Run your finger along the bottom of the P-trap and the slip nuts. If your finger comes back wet, you've got a small leak that needs a slight tightening. This final check only takes a minute, but it saves you from discovering a puddle under your sink the next morning. Let's talk about some common problems you might run into and how to solve them. First, the clog comes back within a few days. This usually means you cleared the symptom but not the root cause. There's likely a buildup of grease or scale coating the inside of the pipe, and debris keeps catching on it. The fix is to snake the drain again, but this time work the cable back and forth several times to scrape the pipe walls clean, then flush with hot water for 5 full minutes. Second, your snake won't advance past a certain point. This almost always means the cable is hitting a sharp elbow or a T-fitting, not a clog. Back the cable out, reposition it, and try feeding it at a slightly different angle while turning clockwise. If it still won't go, the clog might be beyond the reach of a handheld snake, and you may need a longer cable or a professional. Third, you're plunging, but water is shooting up from another drain. This tells you the clog is past the point where those 2 drains connect further down the line. Stop plunging that individual fixture and look for a clean-out plug on your main drain line, usually a white or black cap on a larger pipe in your basement or crawl space. Fourth, there's a foul smell even after clearing the clog. This is usually old organic debris coating the walls of the pipe. Pour a half cup of baking soda into the drain, follow it with a cup of white vinegar, let it fizz for 15 minutes, then flush with boiling water. That usually knocks the smell right out. Fifth, the drain works, but it's still a little slow. You've got a partial blockage that your efforts loosened but didn't fully remove. Run the snake through one more time and follow up with a full 5-minute hot water flush. The good news is, if you follow the steps we've covered in order, you should be able to handle the vast majority of these situations without any trouble. Now, for that bonus tip I promised at the beginning, and this one is a game changer. Instead of waiting for a clog to happen and then fighting it, I want you to start using an enzyme-based drain maintainer once a month. This is not the same as chemical drain cleaner. Chemical cleaners, the ones with lye or sulfuric acid, eat away at your pipes over time, especially if you have older cast iron or plastic drain lines. Enzyme maintainers are completely different. They use natural bacteria that feed on organic buildup like hair, grease, and soap scum. You just pour the recommended amount down each drain before bed. Let it sit overnight while the drains aren't being used, and the enzymes go to work dissolving the gunk that causes clogs in the first place. You can find these at any hardware store for around $8 to $12 a bottle, and one bottle lasts several months. Combine that with putting mesh strainer screens over every drain in your house, the kind that catch hair and food particles before they go down, and you'll eliminate about 90% of clogs before they ever start. I started doing this in my own home years ago, and I honestly can't remember the last time I had a backed up drain. Before you go, I want to make sure you know about my complete guide, the Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It goes way deeper than we can in a single video, with 85 pages covering everything from clearing any clog to replacing your own water heater. If you want to stop wasting money on simple fixes, this book is for you. Just scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to get your copy. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.